The last time I met with you about a year ago, you were very critical of the antivirus industry as a whole. I was hoping you could just talk frankly about, what you see as the problem with antivirus.
I think at that time, we feel like the whole antivirus industry, everybody competing on something called detection rate, which really irrelevant to the real protection that we can provide to the user. Because detection rate means that you just add more and more pattern file, and the pattern file gets so big, the computer cannot be used anymore, and the virus change so quick nowadays that adding more pattern file just cannot catch up with the virus growth. That's why I say antivirus industry is not doing our job, even though my business is in antivirus.
What do you compete on? I mean, how can the antivirus industry sort of stop using these useless benchmarks? How do you differentiate yourself?
Stopping the threat at the source rather than at the destination. We go to the cloud, means all the viruses, they now put their virus code onto the website or to the email, and therefore if you can stop them at the source before they reach your computer, that's a much more effective way.
Even if you were the first to come up with this idea of putting antivirus in the cloud, how do you teach the consumer about that, or how do you use it as a differentiator?
For the consumer user, for them it's just lighter, easier, much lighter because no pattern file, and therefore we were the number one in the netbook SKU. When people buy netbook, they usually use Trendmicro's security because it's much, much more lighter.
Are netbooks something that are going to make people think more about their decision in antivirus purchases? And I mean, is that something that you're sort of counting on as a?
Yes, netbook is one of them, but it's just the overall data mobility. Now, netbook or smartphone, that can all hold a lot of data, and therefore people will start to need to put security onto all these small devices. And when these devices get smaller and less computing power, they would need a lighter agent. That's why we believe like smartphone, smart netbook, these are the devices that would require a lighter agent like Trendmicro security does.
Can you talk about this Third Brigade acquisition that you just did and what that means, what that was about?
Yes. In the beginning of the year, we acquired a company in Canada, Ottawa, called Third Brigade. They specialize on server protection, and especially virtual server protection. Together with the Third Brigade technology, we come up with a new generation of server-based protection that would sit on each virtual server, but also communicate with the scan server. So you protect each of the virtual server, but use very little of the resources on each virtual server.
Right. So the idea is a virtual server can kind of be moved around from one piece of hardware to another,
yes,
and it works irrespective of that hardware. But then, so you're saying that this is a kind of antivirus that follows the virtual server around. Is that the idea?
Right. Not just the antivirus, but also they're combined with like deep packet inspection firewall rule and the application security rules all follow that server, because that server can change from one network segment to another segment in 2 seconds. And sometimes those servers even move to the public cloud, such as Rackspace or Amazon, and therefore the server itself needs to have its own firewall, its own IPS, IDS, and its own antivirus, or combine together but consume very little resources. That's the disruptive technology that we come out together, and it's called Deep Security 7.0 that we are offering.
Right. So I mean, is this a solution to the problem of cloud computing security that people keep talking about? That if you give your data to a public cloud, then you lose control over the security settings?
Yes. First, you can control your own server's security policy rather than sharing the same security policy with everybody else in the public cloud environment. And another technology we are coming out is you can secure your own data regardless who is running your infrastructure.
We want to hear from you. Check out our Twitter feed. We'll be watching for your comments and questions. Plus, you can email us at intelligenttechnology@forbes.com or simply comment directly on our webpage. There's never been a more important time to rethink your company's role in the world.